A big name out in front, Jeremy McGrath. Emig also there with Doug Henry, a Honda teammate of McGrath's. Mike LaRocco had his problems at the start, stalling out.
Art, I can't figure out why this guy can't get off the line. He should know by now. And you can see Emig having his problems in the loop section. That one line making it even more difficult. It's single file. There you see Lusk has nowhere to go and runs into the back of him.
Out in front, we had McGrath and Henry as we go back in the pack. Lusk, number 24. LaRocco went by 9 or 10 riders after his mistake at the beginning to make the main event.
You know, it's not that difficult for him to make the main event. I mean, a rider of his caliber should be able to carve through all these guys. The problem is he has no idea what's going on front, the pace they're running, and look where he's got to start. He's going to have like 10th pick to the gate for the main event.
And here with the last lap, he has one more chance to get in better gate position as he leaps by Emig on the triple jump. McGrath, Henry, LaRocco, Emig. Lusk is the big name in this heat that has to go to the semis to try to make the main. Jeremy McGrath taking the checkers. He has yet to lose in this young season. Doug Henry, his best heat race of the year in the young season. McGrath, Henry, LaRocco, and Emig going directly to the main.
And even though, Art, this is just a heat race, it's still important. I mean, everyone figures LaRocco's the toughest competition for Jeremy, and he just beat him once already.
Semi-final highlights number 1 brought to you by Honda. And it's Todd DeHoop, number 25, taking out to the lead. But Frederic Boulet, number 103, looking very smooth. Number 25, Todd DeHoop out of Hudsonville, Michigan. Made 10 mains last year. He's out in front with a chance to make it this time and takes the checkers in front of Boulet. So it's DeHoop, Boulet, Palmer, Cliff Palmer in third, Steele and Amaradio making it to the main out of semi number 1. Semi-final number 2 brought to you by Honda. Ezra Lusk got the good start, but Ezra, riding with a bad cold, a sore ankle, didn't need any extra races or bad luck. But his crash forced him to come back in the semis to make the main.
Well, Ezra's extremely fast in Supercross, incredibly talented, and unfortunately all that's going to waste. He's on the ground more times than he's not, and he hasn't seemed to be able to grasp that rubber side down concept.
Bill Lawrence and Buddy Antonez out near the front. That's Buddy Antonez, number 31, as Lusk fights through the crowd now to get back in the hunt.
Well, he's showing that speed and all that talent right there. Unfortunately, he's just making more work for himself. You know, it's hard enough to make the main straight out of the heat, but with the cold, it's just compounded, and he's going to be tired when he finally gets there. Lawrence,
number 1, Antonez, number 2, and Semi, number 2. 2 privateers helps the pocketbook to go directly to the main. Lawrence, Antonez, Lusk, Parsons, and Stone. With the last chance results, Jeff Dement winning the last chance qualifier, and also making the field. 55,000 plus waiting for the 250 main coming up. The parade lap for the 250 riders in Minneapolis. The final check for these riders on the track. Jeremy McGrath, what a run he's been on. How has success affected this young man?
Well, there's always that switch in your mind. When you get on the starting gate, it's for pleasure because you've started it out as pleasure, but it always ends up as a job. I mean, I want to win races, and that is my job. But it's having fun riding the bike, practice during the week, just making it all fun. And since I've been training a lot lately, I've had to make it a lot of fun. And you know, I'm like kind of getting addicted to this training thing, and I kind of like it. So I'm definitely having fun and looking forward to this race here.
Art, of all people to become addicted to training, I would have put Jeremy McGrath on last on my list.
Were you a great trainer?
You know, actually, it wasn't until 1984 that I actually became, really interested in training. In 1983, I won all 3 titles. So it doesn't take physical training. It takes a great riding ability, but to last long, have a long career such as Jeff Ward, physical training is absolutely crucial.
Getting set for the 250 main in Minneapolis before the largest crowd to see a Supercross outside of California. A packed house. They braved the cold outside for the warmth and the action inside. The race for the hole shot. Jeremy McGrath is off to a great when he gets his first hole shot of the year. Emig is right there. Cut him off nice. Doug Henry is there.
Look at that. Kudrowski all the way in the back of the pack. Man, what a bad break for him. And there, Brian Swink all stuck in this mess. Look at his bike. It's completely jammed right there.
Yes, Dement and Dowd also got hung up in that pack.
Well, here from this overhead cam, you can see everything that's going on there. It's just a log jam in that inside, and lets the leaders get away to a big lead. There's John Dowd just starting to get away clean, and there's Brian Swink stuck.
Well, the anticipation runs high, though, because in second place behind our #1 is Mike LaRocco.
Well, that's like a miracle to get these two guys off in the first lap, unscathed and ready to do battle. This is the battle we've all been waiting for. It was starting to shape up at Orlando, but LaRocco lost his rear brake. Most of us couldn't tell that, and really didn't turn into much of a battle at all.
Notice Jeremy McGrath is going over the top of the whoops while LaRocco goes in the rut.
I like that. I think that's a good strategy. You know, when I was riding, I thought it was easier to ride through the whoops and not have to focus on riding through the whoops and through a rut. It'd be interesting to see what LaRocco does about that.
#6, Emig, and #4, Henry, battling it out for third. Also in good position is Larry Ward and Mike Kudrowski.
Well, I'm surprised to see Mike Kudrowski already clear up with these guys. We saw him in the first corner at the tail end of the pack. Man, he must be on the move.
Speed work is helping Mike out, evidently. Here's Henry, Ward, there comes Kudrowski.
Synthetic oil, the rest with conventional.
And all these guys are kind of taking each other's line, and Kudrowski's able to come from behind and sort of, you know, figure out where they're going to go and make his move. And he did a nice job right there. Now he's got his sights set on Henry, and well, he's riding a fast pace right now.
Even powered through the hay bale there on the corner a little bit.
Yeah, you know, he's got all these guys in his sights. McGrath and LaRocco right here. I mean, from as far back as he was, he still got a shot at the podium.
Lusk moving ahead of Ward as we look at Skip Norfolk. Jeremy McGrath's mechanic checking out on the stopwatch as #1 is really putting on a sprint now.
Man, it looks like the camera's speeded up on this kid. He just gets faster and faster with every lap, and like I mentioned before, he's in good shape now. He has the confidence to attack that track for 20 laps.
Henry a little bobble, but good balance now, trying to chase down Emig. And here comes MK.
Oh, you know, Henry's in a bad spot right now, because if he tries to do anything out of the ordinary, take a different line to try to get around Emig, Kudrowski's going to sneak right inside of him. Now Kudrowski's using the middle. He elected not to choose the rut, and I think for some of these guys it's a little easier not to have to worry about riding through the rut. Look at Emig, lays it over in the air. It's just helping him to make that inside coming out of that corner. It's just a weird angle looking down on these guys when they lay it over like that.
And a short straightaway before that first turn. Emig, Henry, and Kudrowski still the order.
Well, Kudrowski there, you see him jumping all the way over that plateau. He's jumping, he's got a different rhythm everywhere. Man, he's carrying a lot of momentum. You know, it'd be interesting to see what would have happened had he not got such a terrible start.
And Larry Ward is hanging in there right behind #7.
Yeah, Larry's watching this battle, and I think, you know, it takes a lot of energy out of you. When you get in a big battle like this and guys are scrapping back and forth, you can see the difference in styles. Kudrowski's elected not to jump that first set of doubles, but it gives him that last set going into the corner. He's able to make the pass.
Gives him good momentum.
Right, and you know, we talked about Larry Ward. He's getting a lesson. He's watching all these different lines, and you can bet he's taking notes. He's going to use that probably on some of these guys towards the end of the race.
Whoa, he gets in a rut. Down is MK. Kudrowski is down. Ward gets around him. Oh, bad break for Kudrowski now after really coming from behind.
Yeah, I think the wind is out of his sails now. Look, he can't even get the kickstarter out. You know, Emig definitely chopped him off, but I think Kudrowski could have eliminated that by realizing it and just backing off a little bit and letting him have the line.
Meanwhile, out in front, Jeremy McGrath. He proved in the season opener he intends to keep the train on the track. He survived a bump and a crash in the first turn in the first race, but it's been clear sailing here today. Can LaRocco chase him down? We'll be back. Welcome back to Minneapolis for 250 Supercross action. Jeremy McGrath is our leader. Art Ekman, David Bailey, and Jan Beekes. McGrath continues a smooth ride out front, but like LaRocco, can he catch up?
Well, he looks faster through that section, Art. You know, LaRocco has got the ability to sort of bulldog stuff like we used to see Jeff Stanton do, where McGrath tries to time it more. He's making time in this section right here.
You see Emig making good time, but Lusk and Larry Ward hanging in there in the ruts once again.
Well, you know, it's the whoops are worn down in the rut, but you got to focus like this rider here, 42, Lawrence. He's kind of wobbling back and forth. It's tough. You got to have perfect balance to stay in there.
#7, Mike Kudrowski after crashing. Todd the Hoop, #25, as we take a look at the field. Here's Brian Swink, #10, after getting involved in that first turn melee. Dement, #77. There's 151, Josh Steele out of West Milton, Ohio on the Honda. He got into the main event, getting a 4th in the semis. And here comes around the lapper, our leader, Jeremy McGrath.
Well, the differential to second place seems to be staying the same. Here's a look at Ezra Lusk, who's had his problems trying to get to the main event this year. Now, this kid has got all kinds of talent. When he learns to keep it on 2 wheels, I think he's going to be a real threat. You know, in talking to Roger DeCoster, he says this kid's got some ankle problems that he's sort of downplaying. And I guarantee you that's causing problems. It's not giving him the confidence to be able to just really muscle that bike and keep it on 2 wheels.
Earlier, you pointed out how Emig laid the bike over to make a better turn on that straightaway. Lusk didn't do it, and it took a lot of speed away from him. As you see Emig starting to pull away a little bit. Here comes Lusk, though, number 24, and hanging in there is number 11, Larry Ward, right behind Lusk.
You know, he was involved in that big battle, and he wasn't really so much in the middle of it as he was just watching the whole thing take place in front of him. And he's watched all the different lines, seeing where the good places are to pass, and time's winding down here. He needs to get on the gas, and I think he's got the speed to do it.
Here comes Ward, number 11, a steady run. He knows his limits. He's not pressing. He's not crashing like he did last year.
Right. Well, he's learned his lesson, I hope, from last year, you know, where he showed speed. He was really fast everywhere, and he's got the talent, the experience. He just couldn't keep it on 2 wheels and put in those consistent kind of rides that make you a title contender.
Oh, what a great threesome right there as Emig cuts Lusk off, but Ward gives him a chance to get into the fray. Now, wouldn't it be interesting if the non-factory Yamaha of Ward could catch up with the factory Yamaha man in Emig?
Well, he's caught these guys, and now they're starting to battle each other, and I think that's to the advantage of Larry Ward, and I think it's inevitable. He's going to get by both these guys. His
bike is about 15 pounds heavier as we take another look at the whoops.
Well, it looks like Lusk had a pretty good drive into the corner through that rut, and Emig sensed it. You know, earlier he moved over in front of Kudrowski and took him out. Now he does the same thing and shuts the door on Lusk, who's trying to come up the inside. It's not really dirty riding. He's ahead of him, and he controls the racetrack.
Emig, who got the whole shot in Orlando, finished 9th. He was 17th here last year after going down to the first lap.
Larry Ward still stuck behind this battle, and look at the way he puts his foot out. He gets ready for the corner. Talk about setting yourself up. Boy, he makes quick work of the corner, and he's got to make quick work of these guys, or the leaders are going to be gone.
Now, Ward would like to hit that second podium in 2 races as he spears through, gets by Lusk. Now he'll take on Emig.
Well, Larry Ward's got to chase Emig down, who's on that factory bike, and Emig's supposed to have an advantage. I know that bike's a lot lighter than Larry Ward's, and that's about it. Here's the pass. Larry Ward squares the corner, gets underneath Lusk. Lusk kind of mistimes that section right there and basically just hands it over to Larry.
Back to number 1, Jeremy McGrath out on top, and he's pulling away. He's pulling a pretty good lead right now.
But I can see Art McGrath hasn't made a mistake yet.
Let's go to Jan Beekes, trackside.
So where is Jeremy McGrath pulling out his distance to lead this race? Well, check this out behind me. He is completely clearing that jump. He is the only rider that started this race doing that. In second place, Mike LaRocco has figured out, yes, now Mike LaRocco is doing the same thing. He's taking his clues from Jeremy McGrath. Maybe he can close it and close it on the lead. Art?
Thanks, Jan. A graphic example of how Jeremy just dissects the track.
Oh, that's an awesome angle. Look at these guys are coming to the same section right there, but they were just jumping completely over.
Larry Ward, the inside track. Can Larry Ward catch up to the factory rider Emig?
You know, Larry Ward just tried to make a pass on the inside there. He didn't have the speed to do that triple and didn't get all the way over it. And that takes a lot of energy to chase it like that. And, you know, as I mentioned before the replay, Emig's bike is a little lighter than Larry Ward's. I think that's the main difference.
Also, maybe the availability of parts, as Larry Ward has been waiting for factory parts. Didn't matter there as he takes the inside route. We'll be back with more 250 action after these words. Action number 2, LaRocco just can't seem to pick up time on the leader. Jeremy McGrath, oh, he cased it there.
Boy, that was a big mistake right there. He was lucky to save it. You know, this is a bummer for LaRocco because he thought he was faster than McGrath in Orlando. Here he has no excuses. He was right there with McGrath, and he's losing ground.
It's not a good day at the office for the usually explosive LaRocco. Timing just doesn't seem to be there for him.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. Second place isn't bad, but, you know, this is good enough for Mike LaRocco there. Oh, you see how close he was to going over the handlebars. You know, he just didn't get enough speed out of the corner, and his timing was a little off before he hit that jump. You got to be on the ball and quick like McGrath.
Well, that'll give you a good idea what these suspensions save a rider, too.
Oh, yeah. Back
tremendous impact.
I think in my day, that would have been over the bars. The suspension didn't soak stuff up like it does now.
What's our leader thinking? Well, let's go to Jan Beekes with his mechanic, Skip Norfolk.
Skip, what do you tell Jeremy when he goes out and dominates everything? It's every time he seems to have a handle on everybody out there.
Well, you know, you got to go out there and you got to attack the track instead of attacking the other guys that are catching you or behind you. So we just go out there and you try to go lap after lap as hard as you can go, and whatever happens at the end happens at the end.
Thanks.
Skip's a smart